Would Bob say, did he try to make it?
Yeah, Bob said he's gonna come. He's gonna have stuff for us.
Alright,
Yeah.
3:30 on the,
Oh, it is.
Seven.
3:30.
I don't wanna try to get rid of
He's
you.
gonna have stuff for us.
Huh?
He's gonna have stuff for us.
Yeah, I don't know what ahead of time, cause they all get all kind of stuff ready.
I'm gonna stuff you.
alright,
Good
you
stuff.
crunched your numbers a little bit.
What did you decide then, the 17th, what time?
3:30.
3:30.
Modulating. You better be late or something.
I don't have to get a hold of you.
Okay, the owner's not here, so ask me. So we'll start 6 o'clock. We'll start with a prayer of God look down upon us and give us strength and knowledge to make decisions that are in the best interest of the city and township residents we serve. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call vote. Augustini ain't here. Stallsburg.
Here.
Miranda.
I'm here.
Gibson.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Revard. Galis.
Yeah?
Okay. Agenda additions. Are there any? Everybody got a copy of the agenda now?
Oh, we had, Dennis Whitney is King County
Oh, did I
Township.
miss him? Okay.
Yes, you did. How could you do that, George?
I don't know.
What's your name on your
You
sheet?
know why? I couldn't read the scribbling right.
Oh, that's the way I do it.
No,
I love
Whitney.
to scribble.
Whitney?
Yeah.
That-
He's here.
He
Okay,
will be
sorry.
our township representative
All right,
from
I'm
now.
sorry. Apologize.
I'll let
Okay.
you go.
Huh?
I'll let you go.
All right. Okay. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I would like to ask a question on the assessments for Whispering Pines. That was on there, and I don't see that on the agenda. Talk about that.
It's on there.
Is it? I'm sorry.
Let's see where it is. I gotta put my glasses on.
It's in the minutes, but it's not on the
It's not
agenda.
on the agenda.
No, I didn't think so.
It's under probably A, funding.
Well, that wouldn't be the same thing. Not to my agreements. I think that it should be on there in writing.
Well, that would be unfinished business, right? So
Mm,
you want that to G and H?
Yep.
And what did you want that, call that?
Whispering Pines.
And it shouldn't be just Whispering Pines. It'd be all units that's got more than one house.
Multi-units.
Multi-unit.
Pines, multi-units, other areas. Okay. All right, been added. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
Is there support?
I'll support it.
Roll call, if we agree.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, pass. Treasurer's report. Everybody look at the treasurer's report. Attached.
I know that we kind of discussed it before, but did we ever do anything on our budgets here? With the over amounts of the budget?
No, the percentages,
Yeah,
they're gonna be whacked this time because of that 11-month. We're gonna have to actually, when we look at the end of the year, we're gonna have to look right at the actual numbers versus the percentages, because our budget this year, this past year, was 11 months. So it's gonna skew those percentages. Next year it'll go back to normal. So we'll have to actually look at the numbers.
just some of them are so out of whack, Bob, you gotta have to do something, because I don't know, if somebody walked in and looked at this, we'd be in trouble.
I don't know, but the percentages, I don't know if we can change anything right now.
Because of the fact on your office, office supplies and the oxygen. Is that what it is? The 671%?
Yeah,
No professional.
No, that's personal,
that's professional.
professional fees.
Okay, what was the professional fees?
That's our billing service and Jacob, the accountant, and we didn't have a line item for Acumen in there, but we made one on the new budget, so.
Okay,
I guess what would, that's the only other thing,
I-
you have to move money from,
Well, this, I'm just wondering if we can't add a line here and put Acumen under there to straighten that six.
I would totally agree with that. We've gotta do something, because I know the state's coming down hard on everyone. And if they see that, or they see the 132, the 118, those are all in the same department. And there's nowhere in here, do you have enough money to even those out in that department?
Under uniforms, is coats in there?
Yes.
They gotta be, because now coats were, they come under the grant. So, again, that's an area that's not gonna be reflected in that, you know what I mean?
Right.
It needs to be lined out.
I guess my suggestion would be is, I'm gonna take this when I go down to Flushing and ask Jacob what we're gonna do about these line items that are all whacked and see what he says we should do. Because I don't think we should be sitting here
and have a
6
high
months and have,
percentage.
if you look at it, George, in
Yeah.
your special assessment revenues, it looks like the city is way above.
And
And,
Dawn was supposed to come today and explain that, but she's not here.
and then you got all this over here that's out of whack. It,
What I was told with the city's paying money as they get it now instead of like they were doing it. So as soon as they get money, they're sending checks every 2 weeks right now. So, and she said that's how they were gonna continue to do it, but I don't know why.
so, let me just find out how, what we're gonna do.
So you're gonna talk to the accountant and see
Yeah.
what his
Yeah,
suggestion
if we could add those lines in there,
See if we can
That
add the
would be-
line items or somehow
I don't know
straighten
if we
this
can or
out.
not. If we
I don't
can,
either.
Yeah.
I'm not an accountant, but we'll have him look at it,
But
'cause he's familiar with it.
If you can, that'll straighten out these percentages for
Yep.
us.
Yeah,
Alright, good.
I will do that.
I guess I'm not sure what, you
Other than
balance
that,
it
we'd
out.
have to actually separate, go in and separate everything and see what,
Yeah.
as far as what we've spent from grants versus what we actually have under, what normally goes under like professional
Right.
fees or uniforms.
Yeah, he may look at, at least if he looks at this now, he'll know if it needs more line items for the next year.
Well,
We
we,
added
like for
Acumen.
professional, we added Acumen already,
Yeah.
so that's there for next year.
What did you say, Kim, was gonna come tonight and,
Dawn,
So,
oh, okay, alright.
but she didn't.
Yeah, okay, alright, so, right now, Sharon, you're gonna.
I'm just gonna take this down and have him look at it.
Okay, good, thank you. Alright,
Hey,
any,
Sharon, when you go,
Mm-hmm.
we should probably give you a list of what's actually under that.
He will be up here Saturday,
Okay. I'll be at the station Saturday because I'm doing CPR.
okay?
So if you want to
Okay, I'll
stop
send
in-
him over, and then you can
Alright,
show it
then
to
we can
him.
ask, yeah, then we can ask him.
Mhm.
okay, so that's what we're gonna do, he's gonna come in and meet with Bob Dennis,
Yep,
that we taking it
that's
down.
fine.
Okay.
He's up here anyway Saturday, so that'll
Alright.
work.
Well, that probably
I'm
worked
up
out.
I'm up there at 9.
Well, I have the kids, let's not make it too early, okay?
Well, anyway, that'll work out better, because
Yeah.
Bob will be able
Sure.
to
Yeah.
discuss the items with him and hopefully clear it up as to how we.
Just
can
call
balance
me,
it.
when you think about it, and I will make sure I send him over as soon as he gets
Okay.
up here.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Is there any other questions on the treasurer's report? Anyone need a motion?
I'll make a motion. Accept the treasurer's report.
Okay,
Support.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Should be a roll call.
Okay, roll call, that's.
No, that you have
no,
the bills.
that's-
and
Bills
stuff.
are roll
That's only
call.
bills,
Yeah.
We're just
that's like-
accepting what we have
only,
here.
yeah, that's not the bills. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we go to the bills, which we will, Mike, need a roll call vote on the bills. So, let's look over the bills now. Those are for the months of October and November.
do you know how many more payments we got left on our vehicle?
One, January's last one.
So January is the last one? Okay.
It's a Don, isn't it?
Mhm.
Not too long. I don't know, Bob, you made a suggestion at a preliminary meeting that we ought to be putting that, I'm gonna say that now or later.
What's that?
Oh, that we say we continue that money.
Oh.
We do that.
Yeah, we can bring it up, like, phone or whatever, I
All
guess.
Okay. Are there any questions on the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills. I'll support.
Okay, I'll need a roll call vote on those bills. Augustinian? Yes. Snellsburg?
Yes,
Arinda?
Yes.
Gibson?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Rebar?
Yes.
Galis?
Yes.
And Whitney?
Yes.
All right, motion carried. All right,
Yeah.
okay, we missed them this time. Okay, we go into unfinished business. We'll start out with funding.
The only thing under funding, and Don always puts funding there, but, George mentioned that the money that we're paying, we talked about it the other day, the money that's going into Don right now for the ambulance, we wanna continue putting that in the fund, for a new ambulance. Just keep putting it in every month, just like we're doing now.
You just gonna call ambulance fund or what?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we don't have any money right now available for that, we're saying that's one way to maybe start building something up until we can.
You know, even if we build up enough where we can match and get a grant, we
Yeah.
have a better chance of getting a truck, so.
What does the new ambulance cost?
Depends on what type you want, and what goes in it, but generally probably around $140,000 for one that's similar to what we have now, the box, the modulars. I mean, there's vans out there, but there's not many of them that are cheaper. You can get remounts as well, which is a new chassis, and, we would use the box off from one of our ambulances to put on the new chassis, and then again, it's sort of like a menu, you can pick what you want redone on it, and you can get those for about 2/3 the cost of a brand new, fully brand new ambulance with a new box and everything, so there's a couple different routes you can go with it.
Have we ever looked at the military, the vehicles that they got, ambulances that they got in surplus? Because as a government entity, we could get them very cheap.
I don't think we have, I don't think Northern Bay ever has,
not that I know.
yeah.
It's something
I
I'd like to
don't
look
even know
into,
if
I
that
guess,
can
really.
say yes.
Maybe there is, I don't know if there is, I know like the, like the sheriff gets vehicles, like that rescue vehicle they got.
Mhm.
Maybe there is some vehicles of that type that could be used for that.
The state has a department, an office that will work with the military to get you those vehicles. It's at the state level. You can get them through them, so you don't have to do all the paperwork. You just talk to the state. I don't remember what the agency is, but you work through them and they'll give you a listing of what's available and what they can get.
Just, Sheriff Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, start with Cunningham, maybe he's got some connection, or do you have the connections?
20 minutes on Google, you can find it.
Okay. All right. Do we need a motion on that to put that money aside?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to continue putting that $614 into a new ambulance now since it's been paid off? Is there support to that?
Support.
Okay, I don't know, I don't think we need a roll call on that, do we? Okay. Need a roll call vote on putting that funding aside for the ambulance, the new ambulance. Augustiniak,
I
yes.
think Mark did.
Stallsburg,
Yes.
Marinda,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yeah.
Ford,
Yes.
Revard,
Yes.
Galis,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. All right. Next item is the 2021 Northern Bay ambulance budget.
That's in the back of
The
the,
last,
that's tentative.
we made some changes on it when we were here, I don't know, was it last Tuesday, right? I guess the thing would be is for everybody to take it, look it over, and then come back in February, right? That would be our next meeting.
Yeah, actually, you're gonna have to approve in February, so if you can just email us or, you know,
Should have to prove in March, right?
what's
Your
that?
budget starts in April, right?
Right, April first.
April
Yeah.
first, same as ours now.
Of course, you could have a special meeting before
Oh, that's
that
right.
too, so.
Well, if we got everything set in April, or February, it should be okay.
Yeah, so if you have anything after you go through it and that, just shoot it to us, it'll be easier. We can make any changes in that and have it for the next meeting.
And if anybody, you know, if you think we should have a special meeting on that, call another meeting in January or something like that, we could do that too, if that's what we feel we wanna do.
Well, we only got March, so if we can see what we got in February, we still got March to work on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. No action on that report at this time. Okay, Northern Bay Ambulance wages and benefits. Bob?
We talked a little bit about increasing the wages, as well as the benefits, the insurance benefits. I mentioned to George and Don when we went over this, that we're gonna probably lose one of our full-timers because he needs the benefits. I adjusted the wages, increases in wages for both the EMT and the paramedic in our budget. So if you look at that, the $304,000 for wages includes $18 an hour for the paramedics and $13 for the EMTs. But it doesn't include anything for benefits right now. I did get some quotes. I pulled the quotes from our lab when Bob Dad came. And being conservative and being on the safe side, he gave us quotes for 4 people. And to be on the safe side, it would be about $22,000. That's what the cost would be. That's not them employees matching or anything like that, or putting in a portion of the fee. So that's something we probably need to address. That's not, that number is not in the budget. You know, we were gonna add a line
Right.
with benefits, but we haven't done that yet, so we brought it here.
What kind of benefit would that be?
We have health insurance.
How good of a health insurance plan is it though?
Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO, and then they have Blue Care Network option, which is a little less. I can let you guys look at it if you want to. And I got the plans here too, which explains them all. But that's what Bob quoted for 4 people, based on their ages. That was the ages of the people that we look at them, and I believe that was single coverage, wasn't it? That's not family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Vicky and Dustin are single coverage, would be single coverage.
It all goes together.
Yeah, it all goes together, yeah, that's all the plans and that.
Oh, is it all?
Yeah, you can look through them.
Okay, all right.
Is there anybody on the family plan, that's got a family that would want it though?
We have one gentleman, or 2 gentlemen that are interested. One is, both of them just a wife, that would be interested in adding a wife to the plan.
How much more?
I have 2 that are interested in a full-time. And that, of course, that's gonna, when we talk on the 17th, which we might wanna just discuss this then too, how do you wanna do that, because that could play into it as well. If you add another unit or a truck or whatever you guys wanna do.
What you're saying, that maybe it'd be less.
Could be less, yeah. I got a requesting for new quotes right now. I just haven't got it yet. That was the one that we had,
A year ago?
yeah, probably about a year ago.
Okay, I guess if,
But I can tell you this, that if you had the benefits, people will wanna work here. People do wanna work at Northern Bay, believe me. The only thing, and we have less trouble staffing than the big boys do. Obviously, we're only staffing 1 truck, but we have a lot of of part-time people that work other places, both fire and other EMS services, and nurses that work here for us on a regular basis. So we've been really lucky in the 5 years, 6 years we've been doing this on our own. We've never had to worry about going out of service. So that's sort of a tribute to the people that we have on staff. But we do currently have 2 full-timers right now. We have spots for 3, 3 paramedics. 1 isn't filled at this point, 2 are, and the 2 that are filled would be both the single coverage for the employee.
And that would be medical only, no other benefits from the standpoint of
Well, you could-
retirement or something like that?
We talked about retirement. You could set up a retirement account, they can put in
Yeah,
themselves.
right, yeah, that we wouldn't be adding into it, they can
No,
do it on their
no,
own.
no, yeah. But it'd be an extra option for them if they wanted to do that.
I understand though, medical is very much, today, if you
It's a
ever
big
been in
one.
the hospital, you found out real quick how benefit it is, so.
And that's the big important thing for these guys. Now Vicky wouldn't need it, right off the bat. She's still on her husband, and she's gonna check and see if she would have to take it, cause he works at Dow, so she's gonna check on that. If she doesn't, she won't take us up on it, cause her husband works at Dow. And then, we have Dustin, and then whoever we would hire in that third paramedic slot or whatever we do down the road.
And how many EMTs do we have?
Probably 10, 11. They're all part-time.
They're all part-time.
Yeah, yeah. I did budget in, this time as well because we're getting a little thin on EMTs
Okay.
and we're not getting a whole lot of applications. We're gonna have to advertise again, but, I did budget in the 48-hour shifts like the paramedics work, which is also included in that 304. So it's all there.
Okay.
So we'd schedule them just the same we do as the paramedics. If we have 3 full-time medics, we have 1 day that we would fill currently with part-time.
Okay.
So one of the days that they didn't work.
So if we had benefits, they'd be beating the door down to work here?
We'd have an easier time bringing them in. I won't say they'd be beating the door down, but we'd have an easier time
So you
keeping the
could, you
people
could have
there.
people that run the second truck too?
We run the second truck, we did run the second truck all on part-time people.
Oh, part-time?
Yeah, that's what we did, last year. Again, it depends on how you guys, what your discussions are, what you guys decide moving ahead.
Because what we looked at is saying if we could really make money off of that, which we did over that 3 months, right?
Yeah, it was
July,
actually 2.5
August,
months, because we
September, yeah.
started a little bit later. Well, at that meeting, I'll tell you guys
Yeah.
what it would be for 3 months, what it would cost you for 6 months, and what it would cost you guys for a full year. Now, we didn't staff at 24/7, but I'll give you the numbers for that too.
Yeah.
But, we staffed it 5 days a week, 10 hours a day.
Yes.
And then the new projections, I upped it to 12 hours a day.
I think when you get down to probably G, we're gonna have a little better understanding too about what's happening
Sure.
and what we need to look at.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the biggest problems is we are going out of district all the time.
Oh, yeah.
We were out in
Twice
Hampton
today.
today, yeah,
Yeah.
twice today.
I mean, there's nobody in Bay City.
That's a long way to go, Hampton, that's like 24 miles just about, isn't
Yeah.
it? No, not like
Well,
like
that's
20.
hard on the crews too, and it's hard on the trucks.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by state rule,
mutual aid, you
you have
gotta
to
do
do
it.
it, you gotta do it, you gotta participate. See, that's the thing, when you talk about an echo unit, it sounds like a good idea, but, with your first response unit right now, it does stay here. You're not gonna send the first responder down into Bay City, but you put a paramedic on that, guess where it's gonna go, and they don't have anybody, it's the same thing.
And I think one of the big issues too is, like you said, echo units we can't charge
You can't
for.
bill for it.
And put an ambulance on, we can charge for that.
You can bill for it. Yeah, see, if you had an echo unit on and they would do the same as your, not the same, they could do more than your MFR units, but they would get on scene, they would start patient care, and then they would just wait for the ambulance to show up. Well, if it was an MMR, if it was a McLaren ambulance, or whoever else shows up, they can bill for, they will bill for the call. We get nothing.
Right,
We provide the care, we may use our equipment, but we can't bill for that patient. We just pack everything up, we give them the patient, they bill. Because by law, under the Medicare and the CMS rules, only a transport unit can bill right now,
okay.
so.
I guess my other question is, and it was brought up, and I don't wanna take up time because we only have so many minutes left.
I'm watching it.
Are you watching? I was gonna give him a congratulations if he could get down to 9 before the half hour is up, so you got,
We're working on it. What else you got?
What's your
Sharon?
question?
go ahead, I will get it after.
Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that before we move on? Anybody else? Okay, I don't think we need any action on that. Okay, D, 142, and the station repairs.
Just 142 will be going in the next week or so to get those insurance repairs done from hitting the deer. Insurance covered everything on it, so handles, the door latches that were broke, and the bumpers and everything will be all back up to snuff, and it's still usable. We can still use it right now. It's drivable and that, but it's been in storage here at the township hall. And as far as the lights in the bay, we did install the new lights, those are all in. Still looking at the day room with the ballast. Some of them work when they want to, some of them don't. So we're getting some prices on the ballast, but everything else taken care of and done. The hoses, the exhaust hoses are back up and operational, and they're using them, so. Took a couple of days for me to get used to not yanking them off the ceiling, but.
Anything else on that, Don? That's it?
No, actually, with the other trucks, the only thing we have is an oil change and a backup alarm repair. That's it on 140, that's it.
And Kim is working on a
Yes,
chart, right?
yes.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Which is good because the state sort of requires that maintenance record too, so.
All right, then we'll move on to grants.
The grant that we put in for, I'm assuming, since we haven't heard anything, the last, AFG grant, the Assistant Firefighters Grant, I don't believe we got anything out of it. The, next round is coming up, and there is, an option in there for ambulance purchase, or equipment, purchase, rigs, fire trucks, ambulances, that type of stuff, so, like I said, if we can put in for that, we could get the whole grant paid for. If we put some money away, we could maybe match it. Obviously, if you match, you got a better shot at getting a federal grant. But we were lucky the one time, so, you know, our name is in there, see what happens. But that hasn't, the new grants, the new round hasn't been released yet, so.
Okay, any other questions on that?
And we didn't do anything with the Chippewa tribe this time around. There wasn't really anything that, I mean, just to do it was, I thought, sort of pointless. So we didn't need anything at this point, so we just left it this time. For the time that we might need it.
All right, and next item is the audit.
I haven't set that up yet, but it's Berthium, right? That's who you want us to get in touch with.
And that's what we use at our township, and
That's
you
what
also use that one, right, Sharon?
Yep, and so does the fire department.
All right, so I don't think there's anything else on that, right? Okay, so, then we got this McLaren MedStar ambulance issue.
There's probably a couple new people here who haven't heard this yet. McLaren's EMS service has had some issues over the last 4 or 5 years, both with staffing and just, I would say, revenue issues. And the corporation, McLaren itself, decided that they're gonna spin the service off to their corporate subsidiary, which is MedStar Ambulance, out of Mount Clemens, Michigan. MedStar is owned by 3 of the biggest hospital networks in the state, which is McLaren, obviously, Henry Ford, and an Ascension Health, which is St. Mary's, and they just bought into them as well. The rumor had it that they're gonna come up and take over sometime after the first of the year. The information that I hear, both at the state level and even locally, is locally they don't know anything what's going on. From the state level, I had heard that there is some issues with them getting their contracts signed in the Detroit area. They took up a lot of property, they're buying up a lot of area, and spending a lot of money, and it sounds like it's sort of bogged down a little bit in the Detroit area. And they took over 2 helicopter services too, Superior EMS out of Detroit, and then Beaumont 1, which is out of William Beaumont. I found out too, they don't own either one of those helicopters, they pay to put their name on it. So MedStar's on them, but they don't own them. They also bought 50-some ambulances, which is a big, huge cost. And unfortunately, they still have the same problems that the rest of us do in the state of Michigan. There's not enough paramedics to put in these ambulances. He claimed he was gonna put 200 to 250 people, paramedics in these ambulances. That's not gonna, I don't think there's 200, 250 paramedics available in the state of Michigan at this point. We're in a serious shortage of EMS providers right now. So we'll see what happens with that, how it plays out. It really, at this point, doesn't affect us too much. The only thing that it could affect down the road, they could put, they're interested in transfer load, because that's where EMS makes their money. So you might see some movement up here. The interesting twist in all this is Ascension owns about 33% of MMR, and now they own a third of MedStar. So there's uncertainty about what's going to happen with MMR in the area as well. So MMR being this side of us as well as to the south, there could be some changes that occur there as well, as far as who's taking stuff out of St. Mary's and Standish, as well as Tawas. So we'll just have to wait and see how everything plays out. It's up in the air. Nobody knows anything, that's all they're saying.
Just basically update of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
No definite answers.
Yeah, there's no definite date that they're gonna be coming in the county. We do know that they're gonna have to apply, because we made sure of that at the last 911 meeting. They're not just gonna be able to waltz in because they're in the corner, they're gonna have to put an application in that, so, with the med control.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Next item is, was brought up as an item addition, Whispering Pines and multi-other units in the area where we've got, roaming being charged, or the amount that's being charged is for one unit, and there's several units in that area, and they're only paying, $32 or whatever it is. Like Whispering Pines, there's several buildings, and we're only getting $32 and some cents, so it's something that we want to look at, how we can get money that we should be for those things. I guess, Bob, you want to add to that?
I don't know much about what's going on with it, to be honest with you.
Well,
I'm other than they're paying that, just the one fee. Yeah, so.
And I know we looked at it, the city of Pink County was going to look at those things, because that's where it is. I don't think you got any in your township at all, sure, right? That's all in the,
We might have 1 or 2, but I think I just already have them on a couple charges, or 4 charges on one of them and 2 on another, and, but I think it's because of the way the ordinance is wrote different than ours.
well, we got a new mayor now, so things are really going to happen now.
Yeah, well, it becomes, for me, it becomes a tough decision. I mean, I have the letter from the attorney, which he gave us 3 options to do, and I'll read what's probably the best one, option 2. But before I read the suggestions, in some way, the Northern Bay Ambulance operation and adjustment of special assessments to cover costs are all authorized by the statute. If you wish to modify the existing method of collection, you have 3 potential suggestions that he's given. B is the one that we should go by. Subsection B could be modified to allow for the charges to be levied at, our current rate will be the $32.50 this upcoming year, or whatever the current rate is per year. But in lieu of all properties as they appear on the tax roll, it could be per dwelling, and in the scenario, duplexes could be charged twice as much as a single-family home. It may, however, create difficulty for any apartment structure that has 5, 10, or 15 units, each of which would be charged the same annual amount. I made some phone calls. I called the city of Essexville. They don't have a special assessment. I called the city of Auburn. They don't have special assessments. I called Gladwin. They don't have special assessments. Gladwin has a millage with their fire authority, or however it works. They have a millage. And Auburn, I don't know for sure, but they're in contact with Williams Township or whatever. I brought it up at the meeting. I need council's approval. At this point, just my suggestion is the $32.50 rate,
It's 32.30 if you
or
want.
32,
You want to give us extra 20.
$32.30
Yeah,
rate per parcel, which we're talking Whispering Pines. I believe they're just paying for 2 parcels. But there's, whatever, 60 units there. My suggestion that I'm gonna give to council is per unit pay half of the $32.30 at $16.15, I guess, per unit.
when you say per
That
unit,
cost.
so if one apartment has 4 apartments, is that for those, each apartment would pay that $16? Or are you saying that that one old unit that's got 4 apartments would
No,
pay
I'm saying each apartment.
each apartment? Okay, so each
Each.
one that's got a residence in it would be paying
So it'd be
Yeah.
64 units times that.
times 32.
Well,
Yeah.
not times
66.
32.
16.15.
16.50.
So, revenue-wise,
Yeah, 60.
you know, we're gonna pick up half of what we haven't been getting. How the property owners pass it on to their residents, I don't know, but it's not fair for each one of us. We have to pay the $32.50 because we live in the area, and just because they rent, you know, especially in a big unit like that. So that's my suggestion. I don't know what the board thinks, or,
When you say the board, your city council.
I'm saying
This board.
use for right now. I have to take it to council, and I hope to have the answer for this meeting, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, you made more progress than we've had in quite some time, or is at least some input as far as knowing what it may be. I certainly would support.
What made you feel to just go half? I mean, is there a feeling with your council, or?
No, that's just my personal feeling.
And like you say, it's not fair when I got a little old grandma living by herself in Mount Forest Township, and she's paying the $32.30,
Yeah.
or $35 each of them.
That's, I believe, for the whole residency of all the area, because how can this happen, that they can have a complex like that, and and not pay a fair share. We're all paying, every resident is paying the full charge, and they do not have to pay that, and they're probably getting more services at that area than anything else, and that's not fair. We have to look out for the fairness.
And it's a
All the way
priceless,
across.
it's a priceless service for us living in the townships. You know, it's too cheap.
I think you have to also look at the fact that Aranet County and Gladwin County, you said it yourself, is a millage. Definitely, the assessed value of that complex is gonna be higher than your average home. So they would be paying more. And it'd probably be a lot higher than what you think it is. You know, so if you based it on 1 mil, even whatever their assessed value is,
Whatever the taxable
it's still
value
gonna
is.
be higher than the 3230, I would
Yeah.
think. But it's just something to look at, so you have some information, you know, you can look at that and see what the value would be if they had a 1 mil on them, what would they be paying? What's the assessed value of that complex? So that's something you can look at versus you got, you know, 62 units at 3230. Where is the deal? You may have a deal there, you know, by 3230 versus millage.
Yeah, pretty easy to come up.
I mean, that gives you a little bit more than grabbing in the dark.
At least it give you a number to look at,
Yeah.
say if it was a village based on the taxable value, it's this much, if you do it this way, it's so much, so.
Yeah, gives you different options.
So I'm working on it,
Okay.
and I'm
Okay, good.
hoping to get somewhere with it, and, but since we're talking millage, as the entities here, we can't all just ask for a millage for the NBA, or?
I would have a problem with that, and the reason I have a problem with it is it's a service. You may have a $100,000 home, and I live in a $35,000 home, and I'm gonna get the same service as you are. So it doesn't matter what value your home is, it's the service, and that's what I've always said. To have a millage is not fair, because you're gonna get the same service as I am. And that's just how I feel.
I think it is
It's-
a fair way to do, you know.
It's no different than our village of Linwood, you know.
Right.
People pay 5 bills for their water, and some people live in a $20,000 home, and some live in a $100,000 home, and.
They all pay the
Yeah,
same.
they're paying, you know.
Mm-mm.
Right.
So,
Okay, good, thank you.
Mark, you made the comment how I came up with the half price. What would your suggestion be?
I thought maybe the same as everybody else is
Full
paying.
price.
Huh?
Same as everybody else is paying.
The full price?
Right, yes.
Okay. Where's that worksheet? So if I'm reading this right, the city of Pinconning, on this, I don't know if anybody's got this.
What do you mean by the numbers?
Yeah, the city of Pinconning is telling me, they have 748 parcels.
Right, that's
Correct.
Yeah, yep. That's based on what is currently, so you would be adding whatever number of additional parcels that you would come up in that complex. Or, I don't know, I guess one of the
32,
748 would be one of those.
Yeah, it's counted as one, if it's one tax bill for
Yeah.
all of
I think
Whispering
there's
Pines.
2 tax bills over
There's
for
2
Whispering
tax bills for
Pines.
Whispering Pines, the whole complex, or 1 tax bill?
I think 2 parcels, I'm not
Mhm.
for sure. I believe it's 2 parcels.
So 32 residencies per parcel, that's what you're looking at Whispering Pines. I hate to say it, you know, that's singling out Whispering Pines, but I guess that's
That's the biggest.
what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think you're signaling it out, I guess you're looking at it and saying they're not doing their equitable portion.
Especially when I heard yesterday at that special meeting that majority of runs are going
Well, Bob would
Yeah.
tell you that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's one of the
Yeah.
hot spots.
in the city.
I think no matter what, to be fair to the residents, something's gotta be done, so, you know, to be fair.
Okay, well, Jerry, you continue on, looking at that and then give us feedback at the, next,
Have
meeting.
anything on it? I mean, you do, and thoughts?
I'm not sure about the full price or the half price thing, I guess. I know Whispering Pines is mainly low income, so can they afford the 3230, was it?
3230, yes,
Which,
that's what everybody's paying for next year.
I don't know if the special assessment would be considered part of their, a lot of times when you have, special assessments or they're state funded, usually they don't consider a special assessment that's above and beyond what the state will give you money for. Yeah, I think that's what I've seen in a lot of the, like your PA 116s and whatever. They do, a lot of times won't pay for special assessments.
That's $2.69 a month.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, that's 3230 is for the
Yeah.
whole year, that's
Right.
12 months.
And I can tell you this,
That's
they
for the
spend,
whole
they
year,
spend
yeah.
way more than
I'm
that on
so
the
new, I
cigarettes
didn't-
that they're
Yeah,
smoking on the
so-
shop.
Yeah,
okay,
So I had $2.69, I mean,
right,
I know they buy a pack of cigarettes, they lose more than that, you know, so.
right,
So I think $2.69 per month is very cheap.
right, sure.
For a priceless service.
Right. Because we all don't know when they might need that service.
Well, they use it a lot over there, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay, we'll move on then, if there's nothing else, you don't have anything else to add then, do you? Okay, well, we'll move on now to new business, and it's the HHS agency inspection.
The only thing that, is the hot topic out of these four things, everything, the bottom three are all taken care of. The top one, when the state comes in, they want, one of the things that they wanted revised was what you guys did revise. The thing is, Kim and I were talking, when they come in, we had
Oh, yeah.
We had 5 or 6 of these, 5 of these,
Yeah,
and they were all signed individually. If we put that in front of them, all 5 of those, they're gonna have issues with it. Cause everything they're gonna want all the signatures on the same page, like the originals were. So we brought this one to get your signatures, and if we need to go around and get the clerks, we'll run around and get the clerk's signatures, just so it's all on one page. When they come in, here it is, and we don't have to fiddle through 5 different versions of
You
this.
brought that up. that
Yeah,
was
it's
a
just cleaner,
obstacle.
it's just cleaner for the state licensure process. The other stuff has all been taken care of. We did update the infection control plan, which they wanted us to do. The orientation checklist, we revised and took out old stuff and put in the new stuff. And our CLIA and medical waste, our CLIA comes from the state. That's a waiver form that we get from the state, because we do blood draws and the AccuCheck, the blood glucose checks. So by law, we have to have a CLIA certificate. So that's all taken care of. That's it on that stuff, other than signing this. I'm moving, Sharon.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right, so, okay, we're done with that, and they just need the signatures of the various entities. Okay, next one is stock control, and that's dealing with stocking of.
Yeah, what we noticed is going through our stock, we have a lot of stock that gets wasted. So what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna order more lean, and I'm gonna do 1 box instead of 2 boxes like we used to do. Sometimes they order 3, 4 boxes, and stuff expires, so it makes no sense when you're looking at IV catheters and that, to have them sitting there and have them expire. So, we'll just we may order a little more frequently, but, we won't be wasting.
That's
So
fine.
that's what we're gonna try to do here on out.
That's it on that one.
Yep.
New EMS staff.
I mentioned we're short on EMTs, and we are. But I do have 2 paramedics coming on board again. Now, one of them was on board before and had to scale back, so he left for a bit. And then one of the old McLaren medics who went to Bay City Fire is coming up and doing his paperwork Thursday to come on board. So we'll have 2 more part-time people on board as far as paramedics. So that bodes well for us. I don't know, Sharon, you wanna mention anything about the med control updates?
I think one of the biggest topics that they had, and they had several, but I mean, one of the big one was, your, EpiPens. The EpiPens are $150 to get the ones that you just stab in your leg and it's all there.
Yeah, if they're generic.
But they're running out of, you're not using them fast enough that they expire. So what they wanna do is they want to do the vial and fill the syringes. And that would be what your first responders do. The med control, person said that he was not gonna make it mandatory for fire departments to do that.
Yeah, he's gonna change the protocol. Check
Yeah,
it.
change that protocol, it would not be a
What they'd have to do
mandatory.
is draw up the epi and then inject it, so they'd have to go through some additional training.
Right,
And the MFR agencies, he's gonna leave it as an option. If they wanna carry it, then the hospital will supply the drugs. That was the other thing.
Yep.
The hospital has to supply the medications at no cost.
right,
That was another reason they wanted to move away from the EpiPen.
yeah.
But yeah,
So
so,
that was one of it, and then there was another thing that we're going in for Thursday, is that, it's all those policies, right?
yeah, that's the policy.
Is that the meeting you go down to by, McLaren, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, okay.
Mhm.
All right, and then we'll move on now to, Medical Control Authority update.
That's it.
Oh, that's
That's
it, okay, that's right, okay, I was talking about doing it, okay, good. And you attended that meeting down there. Okay, administrative wages, that's dealing with, Bob, we talked about that,
Bob Henkin.
pardon me?
Bob Henkin. Bob Henkin.
Oh, Bob Income, right, okay. I missed that. I said, Bob Income, who's that? All right, he comes in or he's, called and, the people that are supposed to be here at the ambulance service to run the ambulances are not able to make it. So he can't get somebody, so he comes in and makes the run. And there was some concern about paying him when he does that. Well, anyway, I went online and found out on September 24th, the U.S. Department of Labor issued a ruling that anybody that makes less than $35,568 per year is not an exempt employee. So anybody that makes less than that, if they're taking some other duties beyond what they're assigned to do, they are to be paid for that. So when Bob goes out on an ambulance run, it's really not costing us any more money because that individual that's supposed to run
Was supposed to get paid.
is supposed to get paid.
Right.
So now,
He wasn't doing that?
pardon me?
We wasn't doing it?
No, he was,
And I didn't care, look, this is not a huge deal for me, so.
so based
Kim
on
the
that,
same way.
Pardon me?
Kim is
yeah.
the same boat.
No, they agreed to pay me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, anyway, you know, he's nowhere close to being an exempt employee, okay? So,
I make a motion,
there's support to that, I'll support it.
That's what it is.
motion support.
Okay. Roll call?
Mhm.
Do we need a roll call? I
Yep.
think we do on that. Okay, Augustiniak, yes. Stallsburg,
Yes?
Harinda,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Rebar,
Yes.
Galis,
Yes.
and Whitney.
Yes.
I don't wanna leave him out.
Better not.
But you didn't know about it.
No. All right, now, we're into, public comment. Any other public comment?
Comment on the city. I understand and I agree that the multi-unit housing complexes need to pay per dwelling. The question I have is, has anybody looked at, if you change your wording to say per dwelling unit, how many parcels are you going to lose because they're vacant? And if you say per dwelling unit, how does that affect businesses? I pay that assessment on my office down here. If you've got an answer, that's great, but I'm just saying it's something that needs to be considered, because you could very well, you're gonna be gaining over here, but you might be losing over there.
What the definition is for like the dwelling if anybody can live in there and that's like your bathroom, your water, if they don't have water or bathroom facilities or it isn't up to standard for living,
Right,
then you can't charge for it, and they shouldn't be charging for it. When we made the ordinance, because I was back here when
Right.
we did it, when we made the ordinance, we put in, except yours, we had put in dwelling, livable dwelling, the same as what's on the trash is a livable
Right.
dwelling.
right,
We also included businesses, basically
Okay.
because we didn't want, you know, like, we were going to Magline, used to be Magline, or Northern Two.
Yeah.
I mean, they were.
oh, I agree, and I don't mind paying for the service for my office because I want it available.
Yeah,
But if I had 3 vacant lots in town,
they're not paying.
Oh,
No, you're not paying on vacant,
Yeah.
vacant property doesn't get charged.
it's exempted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It's-
Yeah.
I think all the
Then it-
entities are working.
Okay, fair enough,
Yeah, let's say
Vacant,
two
vacant
should,
property,
but-
farmland
Yeah.
is not charged.
okay,
Yeah, we did not want to charge the farmers.
yeah,
They're home, but not the farm.
Yeah.
right, I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't gonna be an issue because there's a lot of vacant
Right,
property
yeah,
now.
but that isn't, it wasn't, as long as there's a dwelling on the property, any vacant lots or any
Okay,
farmland is not charged.
fair enough,
I just wanted to go back, that I know we've already approved that wages, but that will start in our new budget. We can't-
Oh, I thought you were gonna do it right now.
It's not occurring right
I
now.
don't think we
I
can
mean-
do it.
I know you can't.
No. So I just wanted everybody to
I know.
understand. Okay. All right, next board meeting is February 4th, unless there's some reason to meet earlier. And who wants to make a
Now,
motion?
adjourn.
Support? All in favor?
You
Opposed?
did good.
I like that, huh?
Yes,
I even got 5 minutes to spare.
yes, you do. You can sit around and talk for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Gerald, do you want me to keep this then? I can keep this?
Yeah.